Magnolia tells the story of several characters living in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles. There isn't really much of a plot, as it just follows the characters going about their daily lives and struggles as they try to address the traumas of their past. The whole premise is that life can be altered completely by bizarre and strange coincidences. Oh, and it stars Tom Cruise, Melinda Dillon, Alfred Molina, Julianne Moore, Thomas Jane, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jason Robards, Patton Oswalt, Clark Gregg, and John C. Reilly. Okay, that is actually a really impressive lineup. The idea for the film began when director Paul Thomas Anderson was editing his previous movie, Boogie Nights, and he started writing down material for his next project. Whilst doing research for the script, Anderson discovered a concept that stated that eating the bark of a magnolia tree helps to cure cancer, and this is where the movie started to begin development. After Boogie Nights was a critical and financial success, New Line Cinema told Anderson that they would be willing to finance his next film, stating that he could do whatever he wanted and granted him Final Cut privileges without even hearing what the film was about. He could have pitched a film about eating dog and the studio would have unintentionally greenlit the production.
You don't understand.
Originally, Anderson had wanted to make a film that was small scale and that could be shot in a small amount of time. However, as he continued writing, he realised that he had far too many ideas to fit into a short script, and decided to change it into a longer ensemble piece.
It's universal, man.
Supposedly, he started the writing process by picturing an image of actors Melora Walters and Philip Baker Hall, who would go on to star in the final film, having an intense confrontation, and the rest of the story branched off from there. He was also inspired by the music of the Beatles, and Amy Mann, in particular her song Deathly, actually inspired Melora Walters' character Claudia, and many of the song's lyrics were actually incorporated into the dialogue.
Now that I've met you, would you object to never seeing me again?
Anderson also incorporated many of his real-life experiences into the film's story. For example, there's a storyline involving a game show host which was inspired by Anderson's real-life experiences working as an assistant on a television game show called Quiz Kid Challenge, and the character of Earl was inspired by Anderson's real-life father who died from cancer.
Thank you for all that unnecessary knowledge.
In fact, many have speculated the film was at least partially inspired by the real-life child actor Corey Haim. He's mentioned by name twice in the film, and many of the themes reflect Haim's real-life struggles, such as being a child celebrity who suffered at the hands of neglectful parents, being a victim of sexual molestation as a child, and becoming a drug addict to cope with the trauma. However, Anderson has neither confirmed nor denied this theory.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, and if you're wondering what the title means, it not only refers to Magnolia Boulevard in LA, where most of the movie takes place, but it's also a reference to the term Magnolia, the name for a hypothetical region where things that fall from the sky come from, hence the weird ending which we'll get onto. Oh, and the weird magnolia tree thing from earlier.
Well, maybe.
When it came to casting, many of the characters were written with the actors in mind, but there were some exceptions. John C. Reilly, who had worked with Anderson before, only agreed to do the film so long as he wasn't playing an idiot. I'm always cast as these heavies or these semi-retarded child men. Can't you give me something I can relate to, like falling in love with a girl? So he accepted a role where he plays an idiot who literally can't do his job.
I lost my gun today when I left you, and I'm the laughingstock of a lot of people.
He's literally a worthless cop who admits to a woman he's completely inept at being a police officer. Did he even read the script?
It's a little more complicated than that, little man.
Originally, Anderson had offered the part of Earl to Jason Robards, but he was forced to turn it down due to a sudden illness. The role was then offered to George C. Scott, but he hated the script so much he reportedly threw it across the room and said, "This is the worst thing I have ever read." Jesus.
Watch the mouth.
Eventually, Robards healed up and was able to do the film, though it ended up being the final performance of his entire career. In addition, the character of Frank was specifically written with Tom Cruise in mind. Tom Cruise playing a manipulative con man masquerading as a charming preacher? Nah!
I find that hard to believe.
He had previously contacted the director whilst on the set of Eyes Wide Shut, asking him to keep him in mind for his next film, as he was a huge fan of Boogie Nights. Once Anderson finished the script, he sent Cruise a copy, and though he was hesitant at first, he was eventually convinced to do the film.
That is confidential information, little man.
Shooting began in January of 1999 and lasted 90 days, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as Anderson proved to be a bit of a control freak. He frequently clashed with the studio over how to market the film, as he had been unhappy with how they had previously previously handled Boogie Nights, and wasn't happy with the initial poster for Magnolia, as he wanted to emphasise the ensemble cast rather than portray Cruise as the film's lead character. He ended up not only redesigning the entire poster from scratch, but he also wrote liner notes for the soundtrack album, and even edited the trailer himself. Alright, calm down, Stanley Kubrick.
Calm down. Take it easy.
However, though he got his way in the end, Anderson later admitted that he had gone too far and regretted abusing his position as director. I had to learn to fight without being a jerk. I was a bit of a baby. At the first moment of conflict, I behaved in a slightly adolescent knee-jerky way. I just screamed.
I'm away on a tangent.
Magnolia was given a limited release on December the 17th, 1999 before getting a wider release on January the 7th, and was a moderate success, grossing $48 million on a budget of $37 million, but it received mostly positive reviews.
Excellent work, ladies and germs.
However, some weren't as keen, stating that the film was overly sentimental and far longer than it needed to be.
What does that mean?
However, over the years, the film became a lot more respected, many even calling it one of the greatest films of the 1990s. Initially, director Paul Thomas Anderson was very pleased with the film, even calling it his favourite of his own. However, he later backtracked, stating that it was far too long, and said that if he had the opportunity to go back and change it, he would chill the f*** out and cut 20 minutes. Well, guess what? The movie's too long, and you can't rip on me for saying it! Because the director said it. Magnolia shouldn't be 3 hours.
I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a.
So the whole movie's premise is coincidences, and the first 5 minutes details several fictitious events based on just that. And I won't lie, it's immediately gained my interest.
And when the shotgun accidentally went off, Sydney just happened to pass.
But I just love how guns are kept and treated so casually in America. Oh yes, so we just pull out a gun every now and then during an argument. Of course, only in America! But man, Professor Sprout must have really let herself go after Hogwarts. I mean, the odds of all of these circumstances happening are astronomical. But it is really interesting and fascinating to listen to. So John C. Reilly, the dumbass cop, investigates, but doesn't turn the light on. What are you doing? Flip the damn light switch!
This is bullshit, motherfucker. Don't go down my hallway. Don't go down my motherfucking hallway.
The LAPD!
Oh god, shoot her in the head! Just shut up!
What I tell you? Ain't nobody in there. Where the you going, motherfucker? Don't go in my goddamn bedroom. Stay out of my motherfucking closet.
Subtle.
Whoa! Whoa! What the hell is this, Marcy?
That ain't mine.
She would be the worst criminal ever!
Respect the cock. And tame the
Words of wisdom from Tom Cruise. So Tom is basically a sexist spokesman to help women-hating men get laid.
Now you call up your so-called friend, you set a date, let's say make it around 7:30. You call her on the phone.
As opposed to calling on a cucumber. Meanwhile, John C. Reilly meets this kid who busts out a rap for him. I think it's supposed to be really good, but it's awful!
Presents! With a double ass meaning cause I bestow. With my riff and my frappuccino hit me though. Think fast, catch me out, cause I throw what I know with the resonance. For your trouble ass, feed it in the wind yourself off of the back of the shelf. Jackass, crackers, body stackers, dick two niggas, masturbating your
Hold it, homeboy. I don't need to hear that word.
Oh, you're a white cop in America. I'm sure you're used to saying it.
And he's running from the devil, but the debt is always gaining. And if he's worth being hurt, he's worth being painted. When the sunshine don't work, the good Lord be the rain in. And that will help you solve the case.
What the hell did he even say?
Okay, whatever that meant.
See? I'm intrigued to see how or if all of these stories end up connecting. It is really well structured. Want to see them make Tom Cruise one of the most irresistible men in the world? Completely unappealing and cringy?
I mean, I am Batman. I'm Superman. I'm like a action hero the way I feel. Like I could walk out of this room right now, Guinevere. I could go down the hall, I walk down the street, and I could pick up any sweet little honey that I meet that has even 1 second to stop.
Has there been some screaming and yelling here?
Yes.
The music does a great job on making the scene as uncomfortable as possible. What might seem like filler dialogue, normal day-to-day chit-chat, actually adds tension and suspense without you even realizing. It's so awkward and uncomfortable, it's brilliant.
What's wrong? I'm using death in your bed. In your house. Where's your decency? And then I'm asked questions. What's wrong? Suck my dick!
Can women please stop saying suck my dick? It's so annoying. You'd find it a bit weird if I said eat my pussy. Eat my pussy.
No. You cannot do that.
Basically, Tom Cruise's dad is dying, but Cruise has since changed his name, making it difficult to get a hold of him to inform him of the news.
I know this sounds silly, and I know that I might sound ridiculous, like this is the scene of the movie where the guy's trying to get a hold of the long-lost son, but this is that scene. This is that scene, and I think they have those scenes in movies because they're true.
Well played, movie. Well played.
You're just gonna want to keep an eye on the volume level. Maybe memorize what number you see on the dial. If it's the middle of the day, that's what I do. I just set it at 2.5, and then I know that's a good listening level for me. But you like listening to your music loud.
This is literally John C. Reilly talking to Claudia about nothing. And yet, it's still somehow kind of endearing and enjoyable way. I don't know how they do it.
I have about 2 months. I have no time.
Well, you do. You got 2 months. Ungrateful prick. So Cruise gets interviewed on TV, but ends up breaking his on-screen confident demeanor. He claims that his father is dead while he's really close with his mother. However, the woman has done her research and reveals that she knows his father is still alive, but his mother is dead. Cruise gets subtly defensive, and the acting is amazing. But Julianne Moore has problems of her own.
You and Earl are clients. Whatever you want to say won't leave this room. You have something you want to say to me?
I shouldn't have starred in Carrie.
I don't want any money. I couldn't live with myself with this thing that I've done. I've done so many bad things. I f***ed around. I cheated on him, Alan. There. You're his lawyer, our lawyer. I'm his wife. We are married. I broke the contract of marriage. I f***ed around on him many times. I sucked other men's cocks.
What's with the way she says that?
I sucked other men's cocks.
Is she turning into a Muppet?
I sucked other men's cocks.
Okay, so basically this kid Stanley is a whiz at the game show and they pressure him into always winning. So much so they actually refuse to let him go to pee. It's weird though because the host is dying, but they sidestep that and just focus on the kid that's about to piss himself. Yet they treat it so dramatically and emotionally. Calm down, he just needs to pee!
Okay, I'm back.
For not a fresh cup, this is a really good cup of coffee.
Thank you. What do you want to talk about?
For the love of God, turn the light on!
Relax.
No, I didn't. I'm fine.
Stand up.
I said I'm fine.
Stand up.
I'm fine.
Oh, Jesus. Stanley, what the did you do that for?
He warned you! And he just peed himself! Stop making it out like it's the most dramatic thing in the world! Riley ends up asking out Claudia, but is it just me, or does this make him look like a serial killer?
I feel like a bit of a scumbucket doing this since I came here as an officer of the law and the situation and everything, but I feel like I'd be a fool if I didn't do something I really want to do, which is to ask you for a date.
The music's so evil and sinister. What the hell is this?
You want to go tonight?
No, I'm off tonight. Yeah, that'd be what time?
8 o'clock.
I don't get off until 10.
10 o'clock.
A date at 10 o'clock? What kind of barbarian starts their night out at such a ridiculous hour? The highlight of the movie for me is definitely Tom Cruise's character. His mum passed away from cancer when he was a young boy, and his dad walked out on them, leaving him, a child, to take care of her. He's such an interesting character. He had to literally watch his own mother die, which explains why he's so troubled and acts out to cover it all up. He doesn't even have to say anything, and yet you feel it all. There's so much heartbreak and tragedy in his eyes alone. It's incredible. But man, this dude literally collapsed on a televised game show and then just casually continues like nothing happened. What a trooper. But the Tom Cruise interview isn't going down as well as his last one.
You wanted my time. I gave it to you. You called me a liar. You made accusations.
I mean, he has a point. She's clearly being unprofessional and just manipulating him throughout the entire interview. So Stanley has an outburst where he's had enough of being the game show's golden boy, but it just comes out of nowhere. Sure, he always gets questions right and is always expected to be the very best, but he was absolutely fine earlier. All of a sudden, he pees his pants and now his entire outlook on life has completely changed.
You don't know to get involved in this business of his, my family. This is the family. Right. Me and him. Do you understand? There's no one else. No one else.
I was just...
That man. That beautiful man.
Welcome back from the break. Wait, so that entire interview just took place during intermission? Well, how long is the intermission? And when does he get to rest if he does this seminar and then does interviews in between?
I loved Lily. I cheated on her.
So which one is it? It can't be both.
The biggest regret of my life.
Walking out on your kid?
I let my love go.
Oh. Really? Nothing about your kid? Not even cheating on your love? No? Alright. This entire dying speech does drag on a bit though, and now we're into the 3rd hour. And yeah, it just didn't need to be this long. I can see why the length bothered people. The first 2 hours fly by and is incredibly well paced and exciting. But the 3rd is when it starts to drag and is just needlessly long.
So long.
Then we get this emotional montage showing all of the characters going through their respective struggles. It seems like this should be the end of the movie, but it's not. It's just weird. But hey, you have a kid discover a dead body and it's immediate sympathy, especially if it's suicide. But then he jacks her money. Dude! He does call an ambulance straight after though. That makes up for it. No, it doesn't.
I've cheated on you.
I still love you though. But this is the best scene of the movie. Cruz visits his dying father, but isn't the most sympathetic.
It hurts, doesn't it? Huh? You in a lot of pain? She was in a lot of pain. Right to the end, she's in a lot of pain. I know, because I was there, Earl.
And this speech is amazing. Cruz's acting is absolutely phenomenal. The best I've ever seen from him. Most people have a dying parent and they're like, I'm so sorry, I love you so much, please don't go. But here, Cruz says,
You cocksucker, I know you can hear me. I want you to know that I hate your guts. You can just die, you And I hope it hurts. I hope it hurts.
He's a great character because he's hurt and he's angry at how this guy has treated him and his mother, and rightfully so. But also, he doesn't want to have to see his father die after he watched his mother die, so he's conflicted. It's a great combination. Meanwhile, Claudia gives John C. Reilly a great speech which perfectly sums up self-esteem issues and anxiety.
I'm really nervous that you're gonna hate me soon. You're gonna find stuff out about me and you're gonna hate me.
I think she thinks that I may have molested her.
What? Well, why would she think that if you're innocent?
You deserve to die alone for what you've done.
I don't know what I've done.
How are you so casual? You molested your daughter! So Claudia leaves John C. Reilly in fear of getting too close, which is sadly quite common for abuse victims, while Cruz breaks down in front of his dad and really shows his conflicted feelings. Jesus Christ, what was that? What the hell's going on? Okay, so earlier they had a few lines where people said, oh, it's raining cats and dogs outside. It's literally raining cats and dogs outside. I had taken this seriously. No, actually, it's frogs. Yep. Frogs. And a lot of people had issues with this because it just comes out of nowhere and it doesn't seem to make much sense, but it does actually have a purpose. In the Bible, God sent down a plague of frogs to rain down on Egypt to save the Israelites from enslavement. This is in Exodus 8:2, and the movie has several references to it before the scene even happens. Anderson deliberately uses the numbers 8 and 2 throughout the movie. When John C. Reilly loses his gun, he actually prays and asks for help, believing the Lord had abandoned him. Furthermore, most of the characters are sinners, either misogynistic, adulterers, greedy, or just altogether, so the plague is used to awaken them from their spiritual slumber. Furthermore, the movie does show Stanley, a child, almost being used as a television slave. The frogs are utilized to free him, as he is the only one who doesn't even react to the plague. Everyone else freaks out, but not Stanley. He just sits there casually. Look at him, man. He's so creepy and weird. No wonder Eminem didn't reply to his mail.
This is funny.
Don't get me wrong, it does come out of nowhere and it is weird to see, but finding the underlying purpose, I do think it's quite clever. My issue is that nobody seems to find it odd. I mean, Tom Cruise, for one, sounds like he's taking a dump. But afterwards, it just gets ignored. You just got the apocalypse and they're like... Anyway, they're literally just scraping the frogs off their cars like nothing happened. That's what I don't get. Apparently it was intentional for Anderson's style, but it's just weird. Furthermore, the whole coincidence angle is present before this. Cruise's mum dies of cancer and then his dad walks out but then gets it himself. But once the frogs reign, a long string of coincidences begin to occur. The child molester attempts suicide, but then the falling reptiles cause him to shoot the TV and sets the house on fire instead. Claudia's mum ends up crashing her car in front of her apartment but manages to get inside and reconcile with her. Cruise's dad wakes up to the noise to see his son beside him before dying. Julianne Moore crashes an ambulance right in front of the ER, and a guy called Donnie smashes his teeth out after previously needing braces before being saved.
Dad, you need to be nicer to me.
No! Piss off! But only in America would a gun randomly fall from the sky. Wait, so did God steal his gun? Before another montage showing all of their hardships to finally end the movie. If you're familiar with this channel, you'll know that I have a 3-hour rule. I just don't think any movie needs to be over 3 hours. I mean, Titanic is 3.5 hours. That's one of my favourite films, and that still didn't need that extra 30 minutes. And this is just over that mark, but I was surprised. The first 2 hours are amazing, but it's the third that brings it down. But it's still not awful. If it was trimmed to 2.5, it'd be almost perfect. It drags a bit, but it's never like I'm begging for the movie to finish. It's never to the point I'm screaming for the credits or anything. The characters are memorable, the coincidences are well thought out, and Tom Cruise steals the show, man. It's a movie that really makes you think about life, and it's a film that really sits with you long after watching it. Why is it? The window's open like a crack. They come in. Window's wide open. They're like, how do I get out? How do I get out?